Well, welcome to Livable Neighborhood meeting. And I want to say thank you for sharing your morning with me, whether you're in person or online. I really appreciate it. On this hot, fine summer morning, that's hot. Just a friendly reminder that we have mics above us. So if you're here with us in person, if you would go ahead and now or turn them off, just so we don't have any interruptions during the meeting, that'd be good. And then as far as Livable neighborhood announcements go, I don't have any, so we're just going to move right into presenters. We have two today, and first we're going to have Ms. Gordon and Michael from the Wyandotte County Election Office, and I'll do some presentation on the stuff.
Morning. My name is Jordan. I work at the Wyandotte County Election Office, and then I'm also here with our election commissioner, Michael Abbott, who's going to help with any questions throughout today. I wanted to meet with you guys to kind of talk about a little bit of what we do and don't do going into the election season, discuss the upcoming elections, those election dates, some community engagement efforts that we've been doing, and offer some voter education tools as well. A real quick, brief glance of what we do at our office. One of the main things is maintaining the voter registration rolls. So as applications come in, we process those and keep those rolls updated. We also handle all candidate filing. So we process candidate paperwork and the fees. I will note that June 2nd was the deadline for this year to file as a candidate in an election. So that deadline has already passed for this year. We also do various election administration activities such as processing mail ballot applications, getting mail ballots sent out, training poll workers, preparing the election day equipment, coordinating polling places and stuff like that. And then everything we do is to ensure secure, legal, and transparent elections in Wyandotte County. So all of our elections, we make sure that they abide by state and federal laws. Some of the ways we help ensure that is we have public testing before each election. We have the board of canvass that happens after each election, which is open to the public. And then we have post-election audits as well. And then one thing I just wanted to clarify, because we get asked all the time, we do not provide any candidate information. We are completely nonpartisan. So we can't tell you what a candidate stands for, stuff like that. We do offer sample ballots before election day, so voters can access their sample ballots. They can see who's going to be on their ballot and do their own research, but we can't give any candidate information outside of that. A scope of our work. So we have 92,634 registered voters in Wyandotte County alone. And then to serve all those voters, we use approximately 275 to 300 poll workers for each election day. All of those poll workers are volunteers. We can't force anyone to be a poll worker, and we will talk more about that later on. I do know I have some poll workers here today. It's nice to see you guys. And then each poll worker will be assigned to one of our 30 polling places on election day. So we have 30 polling places throughout the county. And then for early voting, we have 5 advanced locations. It's going to be Eisenhower Rec Center, Edwardsville City Hall, Kane Community Center, Joe Mile, and the election office. So our 5 early sites are kind of spread throughout the county as well. Some turnout averages. So in our odd years, our local elections, we have an average about 17% turnout. And then our even years, our midterm and presidentials, we have an average about 51%. So essentially we have over 92,000 people that RSVP to the party, and then 17 or 51% show up. We would love to see those turnouts go up. And then lastly, in FICO, there are 3 ways that people can vote. There are 2 in-person options, either early in person or on election day at your assigned precinct, or you can vote by mail. And if you vote by mail, you have to submit a mail ballot application. The sooner those mail ballot applications come in, the better. So I highly encourage anyone who's going to vote by mail to send your application ASAP.
Question. So if I decide that I procrastinated too long, can I walk that mail ballot in for you guys?
Yes,
Thank
so
you.
there are 3 ways that you can turn in your mail ballot. You can either send it back in the mail, which again, sooner the better. You can drop it off at one of our drop boxes, and our drop box locations are on our website, or you can take it to any polling place. It doesn't have to be your assigned polling place or early voting, and you can drop it off there, and then that gets taken to the office as well. So this year we are going to have 2 elections. It's a local election year. The QR code there will take you to our website, which has a wealth of information on all the elections this year. So August 5th will be our primary election. The registration deadline will be July 15th, and early voting will begin July 26th. We'll have a full week of early voting. Our website has all the early voting location, hours, and dates on it. And then the primary election is to narrow down the ballot for the general. So in the primary, you're not going to see every single office that you'll see on the general. It's just a matter of how many candidates filed for each position. So if only 2 people filed for a position, they're going to go straight to the general ballot. But if 6 people filed for one position, the primary is going to narrow down those candidates for the general election. And then the general will be November 4th. The registration deadline is October 14th, and then early voting will start October 25th. Again, we'll have a full week of early voting. I have a flyer with important dates. That flyer is front and back for both elections, if you guys want to grab some of those. And we'll have all the offices in November. So we'll have some mayor races, a lot of commissioners, school board races, and more. One thing I'm really trying to help educate people on is Voter View. It's an online resource that any registered voter can go on and access. If you scan the QR code here or go to this website, you can also access it through our website. You can access Voter View. When you get there, there are 2 options. You can just enter in your address to see what polling place is assigned to that address, or you can enter your name and your birth date, and it's going to give you a ton of information. So you can see your registration information, so you can see what name, address, and party affiliation you're registered as, your precinct, so it will show you your ballot style, polling place information, so it'll give you the address and hours and name of your polling location, your districts, every single district that you are eligible to vote for will be listed there. So if you want to know what Kansas legislative district you live in, you can find that on Voter View. It will also list your voting history. So the way that you voted, whether early on election day or by mail, and then the name of that election. And then what I really want to highlight is this is where you can find your sample ballot. If you go to Voter View, you can access your sample ballot there and kind of do your homework ahead of time. I don't think we have our sample ballots quite yet, but usually a month before an election, if you go into Voter View, you can find your sample ballot. So I'd say around 4th of July, you should be able to see your sample ballot there. And then I also have flyers on Voter View as well. So our office has started some new community engagement efforts. That's primarily what I do. So we're starting to show up at more community events, have flyers, answer questions, hand out voter registration applications, stuff like that. So if you would like us to be at an event as a community resource, my email will be on the last slide. You can reach out to me or just call the office. We are happy to show up. One thing I'll note is, since we're completely nonpartisan and we have to remain that way, we can't be at anything that has a political feel to it or has any kind of campaigning. So a nonpartisan event we can be at. Student engagement. We're also trying to be more present in schools and engage with our future voters, whether that's having a registration drive at a high school, conducting student council elections. So It's really cool. We can put all the student council election information into our voting machines, take them to the school, and the students can vote on our machine so they can see what voting is like before they actually become voters themselves. And we just concluded our first sticker design contest. This is our winner, Kaylee Mortel. She created a beautiful sticker that everyone will be getting this year. And she's actually being recognized at the commissioner meeting tonight as well. If anyone is associated with the school and wants us to come in and do a presentation or talk about voting, we are happy to do that. Again, you can email me. And then voter education, we want people to know their resources, how to vote, and how it works here in Wyandotte County. So we're really trying to push that voter view that we just talked about. So we're really pushing voter education. We also have these really cute pamphlets that I'm really hoping by next meeting, we'll have some printed that we can bring to the meeting to hand out, but it'll have a bunch of voter education information that we have here available as well. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about, because I'm about to run out of breath. Thank you. Poll workers. We always need more poll workers. As I talked about earlier in our by the numbers, it takes about 275 to 300 poll workers to smoothly run an election. So we always have people that drop out last minute. So the more that we have, the better. We can always use more. We never are fully staffed. We can always use more because it's totally voluntary. Again, we can't force anyone to be a poll worker. It's a really rewarding experience. It's a really great way to engage with the community in a really unique way. We have poll workers who have been doing it for decades. They absolutely love it. They become like family to us. And we're currently working with the communications department on creating a recruitment video that will have testimony from our poll workers so everyone can kind of see that experience. We also have a student election worker program. So any high school student age 16 or older can actually be an election worker on election day. They have to have parent and school permission. If they are in need of service hours, they can forego pay and get service hours, and that's going to be about 17 hours that they can get. So it's a great way to knock out volunteer hours because every poll worker has to attend a 3-hour training before election day. And then election day is about a 14-hour workday as well. And then our poll workers do get paid. It's not an amount that you can retire on, but it is a little something for your service on election day and for training. We love our poll workers. It's so fun. That is how I got my job, honestly. I started as a poll worker in 2020 and here I am today. You can apply online. I also have applications here. So please be a poll worker. This one. All right, so this is just our contact information. Again, there's the QR code for voter view because I want everyone and their mother to know about voter view. It's a really great resource. My email is on here. We also have a Facebook page that our deputy commissioners are really good about updating. So follow us on Facebook. It's Wyandotte County Election Office. I'm happy to come on site and do any kind of presentations. I will try to speak less rudely at those. But anything that you guys want to do community-wise, you can reach out to me. You can call our office. We are here and we are excited to have elections this year. That's it.
Are there any questions? We have time for maybe like 3 to 5 questions.
With the at-large candidates, I know one of the at-large commissioners will be running. Do we get to vote for, everybody gets to vote for those in the primary or not?
It will depend on which district you live in and then how many we have running for it. So again, like if only 2 people are running for it, it's not going to be on the primary. But if we had like 7 people run for it, then it will be on the primary. So it's
Just to clarify, sorry, your question, in the primary, the at-large candidates are only voted on in that at-large district. In the general, that at-large candidate is on a countywide ballot.
Thank you.
any other questions? You have no idea. But that's why we have, all the sample ballots, so everyone can kind of go into an election knowing who's gonna be on your ballot. You can do that research ahead of time. Again, about a month ahead of the election, we'll have those sample ballots available. I have a ton of flyers. They're very colorful, available, and I can also email electronic copies of those flyers if anyone wants those to post up, in any public spaces as well or anything.
So there's two sample ballots. There's like one before the primaries and one before the general.
Yes,
They're
yes.
both ready a month in advance.
A month in advance, yeah. So here in maybe a week or two, we'll have the sample ballots available for the primary, and then probably early October is when we'll have the sample ballot for the general election. Michael, is there anything you wanted to add?
You got it all.
Thank you. Good, you want to go around?
And that was great. Please sign up to be a poll worker. In your community. Okay, we do have one more presentation, and that is Shalon with the Vision Zero Action Plan. Want to come on up, or
Actually, Matt is doing it, Matt Davis.
Matt?
Yeah.
I-
A lot of confusion about
Yeah.
who's presenting. No problem at all. No sweat. Thank you.
And then, you can tell me like next, or
Sure.
you can do the keyword yourself, whatever.
Sounds good. I'll just let you know. While she's getting ready, my name is Matt Davis. I am a transportation planner with a company called Trans Systems. We're part of a consultant team that is, hi. I'll catch up with you after. We're part of a consultant team that is working for Wyandotte County to develop a Vision Zero action plan. Vision Zero is a program, a national DOT program, Department of Transportation, that focuses on reducing death and serious injury on our roadways. So yeah, we're here to talk about that today. So we're going to talk about what the Vision Zero program is. I'll provide a brief overview of both the national program and what's happening here in Wyandotte County. We'll talk about the public and stakeholder engagement that we're doing as part of this project. Maybe the most important part is the public and stakeholder engagement, because it's really going to inform the plan. So the feedback we get from you all, both at events like this, online, and elsewhere, is very critical to the planning process. We'll talk about data, traffic safety data, and how we collect it, what we do with it. And then, yeah, the following next steps we'll do after we sort of find and analyze the data and talk with you all. So this, go ahead and hit it one more time if you would. This chart shows traffic in the United States. This is really the reason why we're doing this project and why Vision Zero exists at the national level. Nationally, we see about 40,000 roadway deaths per year. It's a serious problem in the United States. And we're working to reduce those deaths and serious injuries on our roadways. These other lines down here are some other countries that we use for comps. Basically, many of them are very different than the United States, but I think it's important to at least acknowledge Australia and Canada here. They have very similar development patterns to what we have here in the United States. And so, you know, we can see that the application of some of these roadway safety strategies is helping to reduce death and serious injury on roadways worldwide. Next slide, please. So here in Wyandotte County, between 2014 and 2023, 239 people were killed on our roadways, and almost 1,000 were seriously injured. And when we say seriously injured, these are not, you know, just you get in an accident, you walk away. These are, you know, debilitating injuries, lacerations, internal injuries, you know, things that people don't walk away from. They're things that put you in the hospital, unfortunately. So we are trying to reduce that through these Vision Zero strategies. Next slide, please. So Vision Zero is sort of a global movement. It started in Europe in the 1970s, and the goal is to reduce or eliminate, you know, death and serious injury on the roadways. It has been very successful worldwide. There are some places that have actually achieved zero death on their roadways, which is somewhat, it's very challenging. But Jersey City in 2022, which is a town of about 300,000 people, a city of about 300,000 people, achieved zero traffic deaths in 2022. So we know it can be done here in the United States. It's been achieved a couple times in Europe, but it's very difficult, right? I mean, it takes a lot of different approaches. And this infographic here on the side sort of demonstrates the principles and objectives of the Safe Streets for All and Vision Zero program. The 5 objectives, which are inside the circle, are safe road users, so the people, safe vehicles, safe roads, safe speeds, and post-crash care. So the idea here is to create redundancy in the safety systems so that if one piece fails, the other piece will sort of catch that failure. The 6 principles that sort of underlie the program are death and serious injury is unacceptable. Humans make mistakes. Humans are vulnerable. Responsibility is shared. Safety is proactive, and redundancy is crucial. So this is sort of like the principles, the underlying, concepts behind Vision Zero R. Next slide. This just shows death and disabling injury in Wyandotte County specifically over the 10 years we studied as part of this project, 2014 to 2023. The yellow bars are disabling injury, the black is fatal injury. It's really just to sort of demonstrate that there is a trend. The trend is going up, unfortunately, and this is sort of a nationwide trend since COVID, is that we've seen traffic deaths increasing, unfortunately. Next slide. So this program is funded through U.S. Department of Transportation Safe Streets and Roads for All program. The UG is partnering with Bonner Springs, Edwardsville, and Lake Quivira. So all the municipalities in the county are participating in this program. We're looking for critical safety issues on the roadways, intersections, sections of roadways, curves, different places in the built environment. So the roads that we have in our community that are dangerous by design, essentially. And we're going to develop strategies, and these can be anything from infrastructure improvements to educational programs to all kinds of different strategies to create a safer environment on our roadways. And one more thing I'll say here is the internal policies and processes. So we'll be working with these municipal governments to sort of look at different things that they can do internally to promote safety on our roadways. So that might be, post-crash care, for example. How do we address post-crash care when a crash occurs? It could be operations and maintenance, right? So how do we maintain our roadways? When we do a maintenance project on our road, can we make it a safer condition on that road just through that regular maintenance process? So sort of building in safety into some of our internal policies and processes. And then once we're done, we're going to write a report, and that report will be available to all the municipalities. And then next year, DOT will come out with funding for implementation. So they can use that report, they can apply for grant funding and say, hey, we've got this really unsafe intersection and we need $200,000 to make it safe. And they can go apply for funding and fix that intersection. Next slide, please. So we've got a lot of public engagement, as I mentioned earlier in the program. We do have a website. I've got a QR code coming up for it. That website has a map. That map, citizens can go and they can identify the conditions on specific intersections, sections of roadway, whatever it may be, anywhere in the county. You can click on that, identify that, and make some comments. Why is it unsafe? what's going on in this location. There was a survey that was actually wrapped into a citizen satisfaction survey that UG was doing. I'm not sure if that's open. Sean, do you know if that survey is still open?
The map or no, citizen satisfaction was tied to the community survey, the larger.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We will be having a lot of social media as well, and that'll be going out through the municipal sites primarily. We've got some fact sheets and one pagers. I know we at least have
Card.
a postcard over there.
Yeah.
And that postcard has our website information, so please grab one of those. We are working on setting up a Vision Zero Summit, which will be an event that's sort of open to the public. People can come, learn about the project, learn about, what it is, how they can assist. We're gonna have a better block demonstration. And this is sort of a temporary infrastructure setup on a roadway that will demonstrate safety improvements that can occur in that location. And it'll be temporary, so, it'll be up for a period of time. People can kind of go experience what that's like and how that improves the condition. We'll have folks there that you can talk to and learn about it. And then we're gonna have a toolkit, which is gonna be sort of educational materials that both the city and citizens or, different groups in the community can use to sort of implement some of these things, to learn about them. And then we're also going to be meeting with a number of stakeholders. These are more organizations that, have a role to play in safety and can provide some influence to local governments. We have a steering committee that's helping guiding the process, the planning process. We'll be having one-on-one conversations with stakeholders, community group presentations like this, a number of pop-up events, including, I know we've got one coming up at the Turner?
Yeah, the Turner back to school event.
Back to school event, and then we've got.
Probably the KCK one as well. We're doing a lot of organizing. Crystal's helping me. I think, what is it? Christmas in July? Yeah.
July 19th.
Mhm.
Yeah, so look for us at a lot of those community events and definitely check in and see what we can do. We're also having safety tours with staff from the municipal governments from a broad range. This is first responders, it's public works, it's planning, it's people from throughout the government. So we'll be sort of educating them on some of these things and hoping to, bring them up to speed and get them influenced on making the roads safer. Next slide, please. This is our website, the QR code for our website. Again, that's over here. We've got that on our cards. Please check it out. Excuse me. This also has links to the strategic mobility plan and the comprehensive plan, which have a lot of information in there about infrastructure improvements occurring in Wyandotte County, mobility, things like that. Next slide, please. I believe this one's our map. Yes. So this is our map. This is what you'll see on our website. These are all locations that citizens have already identified that are sort of unsafe conditions for a variety of different concerns, right? So the pedestrians, that's sort of like, we need a sidewalk, maybe the crosswalk is insufficient. Driver concerns, near crash locations. So these are all things that we want to learn about from the citizens. So please do go out there and check out that map and comment if you have any concerns. Next slide, please. So this is a heat map which shows where the most fatal and serious injury crashes are occurring in Wyandotte County. The bright yellow spots are those are where the highest occurrence of crashes are happening. And actually, state and 635, I think, is right there, I believe. So you can see that's a hot spot. A lot of, we see a lot downtown. Central Ave is on there. So, there's a lot of concern here. Obviously, there's a lot that correlates with sort of the highway system and some of the bigger roadways. But this is kind of what we look at. as we sort of determine what projects and strategies we're going to use to create a safer condition for our residents here in Wyandotte County. Next slide, please. So these are sort of the trends that occurred or that popped out of the data for us. Roadway departure was related to 42% of serious injury and death crashes.
that?
So that's like when somebody drives off the roadway or departs a lane. And that can be related to a lot of different things, right? But that's sort of a general category that we look at. Intersection related crashes are obviously very high, 44% of serious injury and death crashes, speeding, and then pedestrian bicyclists. These are all sort of infrastructure related items that we can have, we can actually change the built environment and make serious improvements for safety. And then there's also behavioral items. So unrestrained occupants, that's, are you wearing your seatbelt? Young driver, so sort of driver education, that sort of thing. And then of course, impaired driving. So a lot of these things are more educational and enforcement related as opposed to infrastructure related improvements.
Impaired driving.
That would be like driving under the influence. Yeah,
Are these Wyandotte County or?
these are Wyandotte County specific, yes. Yes.
So if an incident matches multiple categories, is it shown multiple times, or do you pick one of the major
My understanding,
factors?
my understanding is when a crash occurs, the officer that responds to that crash selects sort of the leading cause of the crash.
There's contributing factors, but there could be 20 contributing factors.
Right.
Why I wondered which ones are captured.
Yeah, there is some crossover, obviously. It's not always one thing. But we try and, so we do like that heat map we showed earlier. We do try and identify where a lot of intersection crashes are occurring, for example, or we try and identify where a lot of roadway departure crashes are occurring. And so that does, we sort of look at, is there something in the built environment that's causing a car to go off the road in this location? And a lot of times that might be, let's use, for example, a curve, right? The curve, the different elevation of the curve, or the way the road is designed, the signage, is there, markings on the pavement that is sufficient? So we kind of look at all that stuff, but we sort of try and narrow it down to the actual cause of the crash. Next slide, please. So this is our timeline for the project. We're in summer 2025. We're sort of in the beginning of the project right now. We're sort of in that data collection, public engagement phase. We'll be moving into sort of identifying what projects are really important for Wyandotte County. And, sort of move into the policy and process, and then we'll develop this action plan. Once the action plan is developed, as I mentioned earlier, UG can go and apply for federal money to make improvements for these things, to actually implement the projects that are suggested in this Vision Zero action plan. And then there are also recommendations on how to monitor and implement projects going forward. So that will be built into the plan as well. Yeah. Next slide, please. So yeah, we'll be doing a number of engagement events. As I mentioned, we'll be developing the report, developing these safety strategies. I really do encourage you all to participate. Citizen participation is critically important to the plan. I thank you all for having me here today. I'm here to answer some questions. Yes, please.
Do y'all collect any data on people who are on their phone and get into?
Distracted driving is certainly is part of this. Yeah. So of those categories we saw earlier, distracted driving is among that list. There's actually a number of other, causes that we did not list here because they didn't sort of rise. They didn't cause those fatal and serious injury crashes. It doesn't mean it's not important, obviously, but we sort of have to look at the the highest, most pressing issues. So we do look at that, but it wasn't causing more fatal and serious injury crashes than the ones that you saw on the screen earlier. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks for the report. This is super important because when those injuries occur, they're instantaneous and they're devastating. So this is a great goal. You mentioned that implementation has to be funded later through federal subsidies and other things. How is this planning work funded and how do you do that? Obviously, in an environment where there's budgetary constraints.
Yeah,
Hey,
so
Matt.
yes.
Hey, sorry, Alyssa Marcy here, planning. I'm one of the internal co-project managers along with Public Works. Who got the grant to originally do this plan, so Vision Zero is a federal program. However, in order to access implementation funding, you have to adopt this plan first to even be eligible to apply for that funding. So the Safe Streets and Roads for All program, again, the same grant program, has one more year left in it before the program runs out of funding. It has not been cut by the federal government, which is kind of rare. As you know, many federal programs have been cut. This one has not. So our intention here is to make sure that this plan gets adopted so that we become eligible for that implementation funding. However, that's not going to cover obviously all of the issues. We have a lot of roadway infrastructure needs in Wyandotte County. So part of this process is also looking at what are all of those other opportunities outside of not only the SS4A federal grant program, but other grant program opportunities. Is there some kind of, dedicated funding source that we can get in the county? Are there different ways to stack funding sources so that we're able to have a plan for not only here are the most dangerous intersections and roadways, but then how are we going to fund them moving forward?
Did that answer your question?
Somewhat. So this effort is funded entirely by that US Department of Transportation grant, and we'll get that funding for one more year, it sounds like.
So SS4A, so yes, it's funded by the Safe Streets and Roads for All federal program. That program has different buckets of funding. So it has planning funding, it has demonstration funding, and it has implementation funding. In order to be eligible for this program's implementation funding, we have to be able to adopt this plan. However, this particular program was part of the BIL legislation, which is only funded through 2026. So there's only one more year, regardless if it's a planning or an implementation grant you're going after. This program only exists in one more year, and after that, it runs out of funds. So we have to get this done in order to be able to get that implementation funding, because SS4A, unless the federal government decides to continue it, which we don't know yet, we assume ends in 2026.
Is there any participation from KDOT or are they totally uninvolved because a lot of this is federal?
So KDOT actually paid entirely for our match for this program. So yeah, they are involved.
Yes.
So the stats that you show, like comparable countries, like a lot of them are like lower than us and like crime statistics. Is there a country that you can think of that is like similar in statistics? If not,
That's a good question. I haven't, to be perfectly honest, I haven't done a broad, what does every country look like, right? But I would presume that we are among the highest in roadway deaths and serious injuries. And, the reason why I called out Canada and Australia on that slide is because they're probably the most similar in terms of what their roads are designed like to the United States. Our development patterns are most similar. So I think, that showed like Japan and, Germany, but those Germany and Japan have developed much differently than the United States have, and their roads look much different. It's possible, there's a lot of differences there, so it's a little bit hard to compare. I don't know if that really answers your questions or not, but yeah, certainly something we could look into and learn about if you.
Well, on that chart, where they had the other countries and they had the US, there was a little arrow that said Wyandotte County was similar to that top line.
Yeah, it's what that was indicating is that Wyandotte County is tracking approximately with the national averages in the United States.
Okay.
So
And the United States wasn't like any of those countries.
it's much higher. Yes. So, right, so that's really sort of demonstrating the underlying goal of the program is to start to get that line to trend downward, right? We wanna reduce roadway deaths and serious injuries here in the States. So this program is actually occurring across the country right now. My organization has been working across Kansas, Missouri. We've got one in Oklahoma, I think one in Nebraska. So that's just the Midwest, but it's happening across our country right now that communities are using this funding to improve their roadway safety conditions. Yes.
I know that this project mainly focuses on the infrastructure. I'm curious to know if you have any data on driver education and how that compares between the United States and these other countries or anything like that.
Well, we know that driver education in the United States has kind of fallen. It's been less and less over the past recent, years. We do have some information on that. I don't know that it's really been incorporated into this program in a really strong way. I think what this program really looks at is primarily infrastructure, but also it does examine driver education a little bit, but it doesn't go so deep as to say, what does every state require? What does every, local government require? Things like that. Now, there may be certain behaviors that would emerge that would say, this really requires driver education, right? So we really need to make a better push on driver education in this area to improve, driver safety, for example.
I do have one final question on my question.
Yeah, please.
How are schools included in this plan? I'm not sure if you answered that already.
So the school districts are involved. They're on our steering committee. And we are looking at safety around schools, and that's part of it. But we're really examining where the crashes are occurring and why they're occurring, and not necessarily looking at, here is a school, and then what's the safety going around, what are the safety conditions around the school? We're looking at the crash data. So we're working backwards from the data and not, forwards from a specific location, if that makes sense. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, schools are involved, they're providing input, they're on our steering committee, they're helping us out, but again, it's not that type of focus. Sean, were you gonna say something?
One thing that I'll say is, at the end of this, there is going to be a Vision Zero toolkit. That toolkit will have a lot of educational materials in there, one of which I assume will be for young people. So once we start laying that foundation at an early age, the behavioral changes that they make can inform the next generation. So this is really not only about the built environment, but it's also about the behavioral changes that you as a person, we as a community make over time that help to lower the numbers.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
And with that, we're gonna move into department and organization updates. When I call your org/agency, you would come up to the front or unmute if you're online, introduce yourself, and keep your update to about 3 minutes. That would be quick. And first up, we have USB.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you.
My information is just very brief and short. We just ended our summer school program. It has come to an end on Tuesday. We want to thank all of our students, parents, and staff for making the program a huge success. Now, we have a short break for our teachers and principals and school staff before we prepare for the new school year, which starts August 13th and 14th. The summer is moving too fast. So that's about it. And one more reminder, we have our Wyandotte County Back to School and Health Fair. That's Saturday, August the 9th. Mark your calendars. Anyone who wants to help out and volunteer, you can reach out to Krista Watson She's the executive director of the foundation. They could use any volunteers. That would be very helpful. And it's from 8 to 1 p.m. and it's at Homefield KC. That's all that I have, unless Francisco, you have something to add. Thank you, everyone.
I'm good. Thank you. Good to see you all.
Thanks, Edwin, Francisco. Next up, we have USD 202.
Hi, I'm Lauren with the Turner School District. Just a couple things today. So first of all, our district this summer redid our 5-year strategic plan. So we do 5-year cycles, and we just ended the 2020 to 2025 cycle. And so we have a strategic planning committee made up of community members, business owners, parents, students, staff. And we this June went through the process of rewriting that 5-year plan. So we'll be sharing that out with our community a lot more in July and August and kind of what goes into that. But we just had some really exciting action steps come out of that process, and just looking forward to the next 5 years in USD 202. And then the other thing I have for you guys today is our Turner Back to School Bash is on Wednesday, July 30th. And this event is for Turner families with students that will be enrolled in our district for this upcoming school year. The main purpose of the event is to provide all that back to school information that our families need, but we also have a portion of the event where we have our community partners that can have a table and kind of share information with our families. We do just ask that anyone participating brings a carnival style activity for the kids to participate in, but then you can have flyers or other giveaways that you can talk to the adults while the kids are playing the game. So if anyone is interested, any organizations or businesses that want to participate in that, just reach out to me. My name's Lauren Alio. I'll put my email address in the comments, but we are asking if anyone wants to be added to that list to let us know here in the next week or so, just so we can kind of make plans for that as the event comes up. That's all I have.
Thank you, Lauren. Kansas Fire Department.
Hello, I'm Kelly Littlefield. I'm representing Fire Marshal John Droppelman today. Some things for the fire department. Fireworks season is upon us. We have 31 fireworks stands selling fireworks. I'd like to remind everybody right now that the discharging of fireworks is only between 9 a.m. and 11 p.m. July 2nd through the 4th. I know this is problematic for everyone to enforce when everyone is buying them on June the 29th. So on Sunday this week, all of the fireworks stands will open for sale to the public. Just a few reminders: no person shall ignite or discharge any fireworks within 1,000 feet of any hospital, sanitarium, infirmary, or home for the aged. No person shall ignite or discharge any firework into, under, or on a car or vehicle, whether it is moving or standing still. No person shall throw or place any fireworks in any assembly or gathering of persons. And no person shall ignite or discharge fireworks within 150 feet of any retail stand or facility where fireworks are stored. No person shall ignite or discharge fireworks in any building. And it's just good practice to have a water source available when discharging fireworks. We discourage people from discharging fireworks on city streets, particularly children who are unattended. We don't want anybody to get run over by a car from one of those unattended drivers we were just talking about a while ago while they're texting and driving. So that's our safety tip of the month, is be careful with fireworks. The second thing I want to mention is, because of it's summer and it's hot, stay hydrated, be aware of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. The difference between the two: with heat exhaustion, you'll feel faint or dizzy, excessive sweating, cool, clammy, pale skin, a rapid or weak pulse, muscle cramps. To combat that heat exhaustion, get into a cool or air-conditioned place, drink some water or a Gatorade or Powerade type drink. Nothing sugary, no soda, no dairy, no milk, nothing like that. water or something that can replace those electrolytes is good. Take a cool shower, but not freezing cold water because it could put you into shock. And you can use cold compresses like a cold washcloth on the back of your neck to cool off. Heat stroke is much more serious. It will give you a throbbing headache. You'll have no more sweating. You'll be red. Your skin will be hot and dry. You'll have a rapid, strong pulse, and you may or may not lose consciousness. If someone has experienced heat stroke, call 911. They need to be seen medically, professionally, immediately. And then some general news for the fire department. We have an event this Saturday at the Legends from 12 to 2 by the smokestack. We're going to show our mission ready video, and we will have firefighter fun and family day at the Legends. There will be opportunities for people to spray the water, to learn how to use a fire extinguisher, to learn some general fire and life safety tips, to check out all of the apparatus and gear that firefighters wear. And we will have a mini course of the testing that it takes to be a firefighter. So people can kind of go through that and see what that might be like. But it'll be right there in that area outside of Yard House in that seated area. And they will be showing the video on the big screen at the Legends. And I think the last thing I have is I have 16,388 calls for service so far this month. We have 7,972 emergency medical calls, 234 vehicle crashes with injuries, 86 structure fires, 82 vehicle fires, 163 false automatic alarms, and 231 calls for illegal burning. And if anyone has questions, you can email me or call the fire department and we'll be happy to help you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Patty. I have an old question though. Do you have the do's and don'ts for 4th of July posted anywhere online?
It'll be up tomorrow on the website.
Oh, you just-
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
And
they're right.
graphic. So, yeah.
Okay, for those of you that didn't hear, because I was kind of talking first. 4th of July do's and don'ts will be on the UG page for those interested in that Kelly's doing for tomorrow.
I unfortunately don't have it in Spanish, because we are a very small team, but if I could have someone get it in Spanish, I would love that. I just have it in English. It's just a graphic plus some information that I was able to get put into a news article.
Next up, we have KCK Police Department.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sergeant Angela Joyce. I'm filling in for Captain Davis today. All we have is, I put over here on the table, we have a list of events that we have coming this year at the front and back sheet. It's the events that the police department put on. We are also teaming up with the fire department as well as the sheriff's department and doing a back to school backpack drive. We're trying to collect over 600 backpacks with supplies to give out to students at a fun day at Heathwood Park. It was a great success last year when we did it last year. We didn't have quite as many backpacks, so they were gone in less than an hour. So we're trying to get together 600 supplies. We would love for kids to come out, but if you're willing to donate, Sheriff's Department will take donations, And it's a good fun day that everybody had a great time last year. So, kids who need something or you want to come and join us, please come out and join us.
Where do you donate it? Where, you have to take it to the sheriff's department or?
You can contact us, we'll send it, or you can bring it to like our community policing office where you guys are at. We're right next door. Sheriff's Department, they have places within the Sheriff's Department. I have, like I said, I have a list over here that has all the events that are coming up for our department, and some are UG on the backside. There are email addresses if you want to email us.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a list of items you need?
Yes, actually on the flyer that is over here with it, there's a list of items on the back that we need, because things like pencils we don't need. We literally have thousands of pencils. So there is a list of things that we do need that's on the back of the flyer. Thank you.
Thanks. County Sheriff.
Morning. So, a couple things. So Grace has made some adjustments to our flyer also with some updates and all of our upcoming events. I get asked often what our community engagement looks like. And so I actually have a couple numbers for you. In 21, we had less than 10 community engagement events. Between 22, 23, and 24, we had almost 200. The reason I tell you that, why it's important, is we will come anywhere, anytime, and do just about anything. Really, our only thing that restricts us is the schedule. And so we do have to turn down some events just because we don't have time to get people there. But we are open to coming and helping you guys out. On that same note, but a little different, those events have also really impacted our recruiting efforts. Today we have testing. It's the biggest group that we've ever had sign up. We've got 22 signed up for today. And so we need that to happen like the next 3 or 4 months. And honestly, that if we could get that over a 3 or 4 month stretch, we probably could fill, lose about 50 or 60% that block. But still, it's doable. So anything you guys can do to help with that, it's greatly appreciated. And then finally, we get questions about tag enforcement. We actually have 2 tag enforcement positions. Unfortunately, we weren't able to fill one again because of staffing. And even more unfortunate, that deputy's been out for a little bit with some personal stuff. He is back, raring to go. And so I'll share the complaint phone number with you. In a minute. So it's 913-573-8056. All you have to do is call and you won't get it. Somebody to answer. It's just going to be a voicemail. Leave a message. Tell them what the complaint is. As much information as you can give them is best. If you'll leave a return phone call or number and name, that's even better. Not required. Just understand if we don't have callback, when we go out and check on it, can't find it, or don't have enough information, we're kind of stuck. But if you're willing to leave your information, we will definitely call you back. You can come out and take a look.
Sure, you said that's 8056. Put in the chat.
8056. Okay, question?
When we have situations that need some help, do we call the sheriff department or the Kansas City Police Department?
So you call the number, depends on on your situation. If it's an emergency, call 911. They will get you whoever you need. The dispatchers know who you need. If it's not an emergency, 596-3000, same situation, they'll know. Yeah. Good question.
Thank you.
You bet.
How many prisoners do we have and how many are we farming out, et cetera, et cetera?
So we're keeping about 460 in the facility. We farm out anywhere between 40 and 80 at any given time. I don't like to say the jail is full, but the jail's full, which is why we have to farm out. We do leave a buffer between open beds and filled beds because we just never know what, influx we may have. We have bigger events that happen here. We've got Country Stampede this weekend. We've got soccer matches. We've got baseball games. We've got all this stuff that unfortunately at any given time could be a mass arrest situation. So we keep that buffer for that reason. But yeah, we're farming, like I said, 50 to 80, 40 to 80. It's pretty consistent every day. I can tell you, we go in front of the commission tonight to have some talks about World Cup and budget issues. We have put in extra budget money for next year during that time to farm out even more, to leave more room in the facility. But we don't need it, but it's just the reality of really a lot of extra people here.
How many juveniles do we have?
14, 13, which is not bad. We got pretty high there for a while. Yeah.
How many deputies are you short, and are you anticipating any kind of retirement type things coming on?
We've had a ton of retirements. It's not funny, but Sheriff Ash was here. He would tell you that I think in his time as sheriff, there were a couple. We've had like 4 or 5 this year. We were able to do some stuff with the pay several years ago. And what that really did is give some deputies the opportunity to stay a little bit longer, pay into their retirement, and then get out while getting good. And that's what they've done. We've had a major that retired just recently. He had 35 years. And so definitely a long-term employee. 33 is our shortage number. How many we're short. And yeah, that's why I say if we could get 2 or 3 months of 20 or 22 people that would test, even if we lost 60% of that, that'd make a really nice dent in our 33. We got another retiring in July, another one retiring in September. I would suspect probably at least one more other than that. And our JDC director recently retired, Terry. She was a 30+ year employee. So, it's just that time. The police department has gone through those similar struggles, but it had big groups of officers that were hired in at one time. And it's just kind of the way it works out. They all tend to leave at the same time. We just haven't experienced that in the past. So it's new to us. It's a good problem, but still a problem. Yeah, you bet. Thanks.
Next up, we have BPU.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Moreno, Stakeholder Engagement Manager at BPU. I have 3 things for you guys today. So first of all, summer months, we know it's getting hot and energy bills are going to be going up. We have a few programs that can help manage that. So first of all, we have some flyers over there for our Flex Pay program. It's kind of like a prepaid, like filling up your car with gas. So it keeps people up on their bills. It keeps people from getting those late fees and falling behind. Then also there's no deposits on that. It's a really cool program. You can call our customer service to get signed up there. And that's 573-9190. Another program that we have that's similar is our equal payment plan. So that is, you have your utility bill that spikes in the summer, it's always higher. And so you can spread out and pay the same thing over a 6-month period. So averages your 12 months usage every 6 months. And so it keeps those bills from spiking and it keeps people from falling behind and getting on those late fees. The last thing I have for you is we are getting some reports on people coming at your house and telling you that we have a solar program that we're partnered with. And if you get these solar panels in your house, then you won't have a BPU bill. I had some kid come to my house on a Segway. He was probably 18, 19 years old, knocked on my door. He told me, hey, you should get some solar panels and you won't have to pay BPU bill. I was like, sir, I work for BPU and I know it's not true. But we've heard from a few community members about that. So we don't endorse any solar company that does it at your home, because there's so many out there to vet and a lot of them are shady and are just looking to get you on a payment plan. So be very careful if you're doing that. I know some people that have some on their house and they're really helpful in the summer. They have a big expense startup and they're a cool thing to have, but just be careful with any of those companies and make sure you vet those, yes.
And know that you will get a bill from the VP.
And you will always get a bill. Generating more energy than solar, you're still gonna get the setup fees and all the costs that are associated with that.
So is there a good location to find the reputable ones?
We don't have a hub for that currently, but that's something that we can work on.
I was just wondering, like bad actors, good actors.
I think that realistically that this would be more like we have these bad actors that are out there.
I know, because I know it's hard. You can't endorse a particular company, but that's not totally true. You can say that these companies are reputable.
Oh, yes.
Okay, you don't have to endorse them.
But we don't have it right now, but that's something we can work on.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's been happening lately.
Thank you.
I'm curious if you can go back to the 6 months. I know my bill changes like, well, I think last month the change occurred. I'm on the level pay.
Okay.
And so like twice a year, my level pay amount changes.
Yeah, so it's your 12-month average for the past 12 months, but that's recalculated every 6 months.
Okay.
So when you sign up for that 6 months from then, they'll recalculate it again.
So it's not necessarily winter, summer, or maybe it is.
No, it'll be the whole past year calculation, but they just reset it because your energy change might have.
Okay.
Usage
like-
might have changed over.
So that means if you would have signed up in March, you know, then that's gonna be your year. If that's gonna be year mark all the time. Or if you signed up in November, that's gonna be your year mark.
So if you sign up in March, that's your year mark for 6 months. So then with 6 months of March, that's
Well, but you understand what
September, October, then it'll be the year from there.
Right, so it's whenever we sign up,
Yeah.
comes our mark, and then our 6 months later.
But either way, it's taking a whole year, so you're getting all 4 seasons in that calculation.
And if you want it to be different, can you call and ask them to change when they do the average? That's what I think she's asking is what determines what month?
I believe it's sign up. I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it's when you sign up is when they do that 12 months from there. Because either way, it's gonna be.
30 years later, it's still that month.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can talk to them, work with them, and make shifts, but I don't know the exact specifics about the customer service department, so. Any other questions?
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
We have the.
Good morning, good morning. Steve Williams from the Mayor's Office, Community Engagement Advisor, and I only have 3 things for you. He's working on one of the events that he's working on is a back to school, kind of staying involved with the community as a back to school event for kids with him and Commissioner Townsend. They're gonna work on back to school event. Also, he wanted me to let you guys know that the Mayor's Christmas tree lighting gets November the 14th at 4 o'clock to 7. And also the state of government address is December the 2nd also. So those are some of the things that he wanted me to know. Any questions for me?
You say November the time?
November 14th for the Mayor's Christmas tree lighting.
It's on the web. Can you give the time on there?
4 o'clock. Thank you.
The DA's office.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see all of you. Real quickly, the expungement fair. I spoke last month about it, and I just want to remind you all to please encourage the folks that you know to call our office so that they can be pre-screened. Expungement, as not to go back into a long deal, is simply an opportunity for individuals who've made past mistakes to clear their record, and so that they can move forward and get a job and take care of their families. They can call our office, area code 913-573-2851. The expungement fair is July 29th and 30th. It is at the Kansas City, Kansas Community College Tech Center off of 65th and State Avenue. And it will be from 4 o'clock to 8 p.m. on both of those days. The Kansas Legal Services, the Wyandotte Public Defender's Office, the Kansas City, Kansas Community College, and the DA's office, along with some other nonprofits, are partnering with us. And so please encourage and tell folks to pre-screen and to come out and try to get their record expunged. Just by way of reminder, murderers as well as sex crimes and kiddie sex crimes are not permissible to request for expungement. So just to let everyone know, that is not the case. And you have to have been crime-free for minimal 3 years, upward part of 7 years statutorily before you can even make this request. And then a judge will review it and make the ultimate decision. So hopefully I've answered some of the questions that were going on in your head. I get them every year. We have had over 1,000 individuals in the last 5 years who have gotten an expungement, and we're excited to keep that going because the more folks clear their record, the more likely they are able to get their job and not to come see the sheriff for myself. And so that is all that I have. I'll take any questions if you have it. There is a piece of paper that gives all of the information that I've said, as well as an update on some of the things that we're doing in the office and in the community. Feel free to grab that off of the table if you want to know more about it.
Thanks, Dupree. UG Communications is next. Morning, everyone. Crystal.
I will go fast. I have a lot to cover. I promise. I'm not gonna talk too fast. I'm gonna go fast. Just give you all a heads up that our KCK Wyandotte County Cooling Centers are completely open. There is a news article on the UG website on the front page. If you know of anyone, if I see people on the street, just to let them know. It's updated with the times, locations, all of that information has also been shared on our UG Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook, if you could share that just to help us really get the word out from cooling centers, because it's brutal there. Also, starting last week, we actually started bi-weekly.news publications versus like how we used to push it out every Tuesday. So it'll be the first and the third Tuesday of the month, just from a capacity standpoint, and also through the summer. Things since somewhat died down, but it may be a little bit more meaty. So there may be more in it just because we're doing it twice a month. And that will change the next few months, but just through the summer, we'll do that twice a month. So you'll get your next one July 1st, next Tuesday. Also we're still looking for applications for the Ethics Commission. You have until July 11th. If you are interested, if you know of someone that may be interested, I think they're looking to fill 2 positions. And I'll put everything in the chat link, but then also all of this information is on our website about kind of what the requirements are. Also, Memorial Hall Centennial is coming up. Please save the date for September 11th and 12th. If you are like me and you graduated and walked across the stage at Memorial Hall, we want your stories. We want, if you have any really cool concert ticket stubs, if you have a picture, we will give everything back. We're working with the Wyandotte County Museum to actually scan in photos, any ticket stubs, anything like that, because we want to capture everyone's memories for this huge centennial. We have a committee that's been working really tight. We're working on a tight budget, but we will make it happen. I guarantee you there's some great things that are in the works. So I promise you want to be there in September. All this information is on our website, but on July 10th and the 12th, the Wyandotte County Museum will be hosting basically a scanning event. So if you're out that way, or we can come to you, we want your pictures. Like I said, any kind of, even if we can capture you via video of you telling your story about Memorial Hall wedding. Stevie, I've been, as we've gone through this process, I have discovered so many cool concerts and things that my great grandmother used to go watch wrestling every Friday night by herself. That was her girls' night out by herself. Every Friday night by herself. I found that out. Also, Stevie Wonder performed. We found articles, like not even articles, index cards with typewriter information on it of who played, the times, the date. Stevie Wonder, Patsy Cline, like I am blown away. So the history, if those walls could talk, we want everyone's stories captured in this Memorial Hall Centennial. Mina brought up a really cool idea that we're going to actually do, which is a time capsule. So we want everyone's information, pictures in this time capsule. We're going to officially close it at the Centennial celebration on Saturday, September 12th. So we want everyone there. Like I said, more information will be teased out, but I'm just putting that on your brain to start gathering up your old pictures because we want them, please. Also, really quick, we have this Saturday, Kelly already mentioned it about the KCK and the Legends has partnered up for the Family Fun Day. Please come out from 12 to 2. It's going to be great. Josh Reiser and Dom Hampton from the communications team they did a 24-hour shift with the fire department. And that mission ready video is the coolest thing you will ever see. The day in the life of a firefighter. That will be played on the big screen. Also this Saturday from 9 to 10, the Parks Department will be doing a Korean Veteran Conflict Memorial Rededication Ceremony from 9 to 10 at Wyandotte County Lake Park. We will have 3-star Lieutenant General Milford Beagle there to actually provide remarks, as well as other officials there to provide remarks, as well as kind of get the ceremony going. So please, all of this is on our website as well. Also, like I said, the fireworks safety tips and graphic will be on our website first thing tomorrow morning. And it also will be posted on social media. Please, please, please help us by spreading that out. I don't know if you all were aware, there was an incident that just happened Sunday with two young kids that tried to do something with with some fireworks and it exploded and the fire department had to go and rescue them. So there will be more information even coming out about that tomorrow, but we want to make sure everyone in our community knows about the safety tips. And last thing, and I promise I'm gonna let you all go, starting July 1, our aging department, I don't know if Wayne of you were gonna mention this about public comment, public input that we're requesting from January 1st through July 1st through July 31st. And so all of this information will be in Dot News and on our website, but we want, if you can help us pass the word around to receive just insight about the aging services and different things like that. And then also, as I walk to my seat, please tune in tonight for a special session, like Sheriff Soptic said, talking about World Cup budget needs, because it is coming on us fast. And it's gonna come up on us fast. So budget needs a special session at 6 o'clock, but also tune in for the full commission meeting at 7. So there's some
Special sessions only an hour.
special sessions only an hour, but there's some other things at the 7 o'clock full commission meeting that you all may want to tune in on regarding the data center, regarding just a lot of other things. So that all of the full agenda items are on our website on the clerk's page, so you can see what will be talked about.
So they're kicking around the data center still. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I went over, sorry.
No, thank you.
The NRC is next.
Good morning, everyone. Just one thing this morning, for those of you that have worked or know Cindy Campmeyer, she's been with us with the Unified Government for 24 years. She's currently over our staff in the administrative division, supervisor. Her last day, she's retiring, will be next Wednesday. She'll be missed. That's all I have.
Thanks, Fred. UG planning and urban design.
Morning, everyone. I think you mostly heard what we're up to. Our Vision Zero action plan is our biggest project at the moment. However, we do have our zoning code rewrite, should be starting sometime soon. In the meantime, we've been working with the mayor's business development task force. They have been focusing on certain sections of the zoning code to update. Most recently, it was the passing of a moratorium on parking minimums in commercial areas. We are now looking at changes to the sign code to make it easier for businesses and to allow more uses by right in different areas for different types of signs, and we'll probably continue that process through the end of the year. But that is all I really have for planning.
Thanks, Alyssa. Public health departments. If there's nobody from the health department, I just want to let everybody know that the CHIP is on the county's health improvement plan is on year 2. And they do have booklets. I have some over there. They're like the salmon color. Feel free to grab one. And I believe they're also available online at the public health department's landing page on UG website. I'm gonna pin that. After health department, we have UG Public Works.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Jeff Miles. I'm with Public Works. I'm the Director of Environmental Services. I'll touch on a couple topics. It is pothole season, as everybody's aware. We said this in a recent commission meeting. I always like to bring this up. We patched over 40,000 potholes in our community last year. So kudos to the street department, street division team that's doing that. We are getting potentially some exciting news through this World Cup. There are some potential for some funding. Potentially could go straight into our infrastructure. So we don't have no final information on that yet. But obviously we support that. So we always tie that story together. I think at the commission meeting, we said the same thing. A community like Y-Size. How many potholes do you think the city of Overland Park patched last year?
1,080 now.
1,300. We patched 40,000. It just kind of tells you the condition of our infrastructure. So another topic I'm going to tie with fire. Some others said about fireworks. We love fireworks. A lot of people do. But please, 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 on behalf of Environmental Services, clean up the mess after you do that. Get to the car and stay jumping ahead here.
Solid waste.
Yeah. Correct. You have solid waste. But with the fireworks, they end up going down drains, stormwaters, drains that ultimately, you guys seen on May 19th, we got a lot of flooding in our community. multiple different reasons for that, but the number one reason is plug catch basins. And that's from anything from mulch, grass clippings, t-shirts, tennis shoes, we found, you name it. We found that clog things up that causes high water at a lot of our intersections. So anything we can do, we see in an extremely high amount right after fireworks season, because all that ends up in our infrastructure. So we want to be careful of that. Tying it back to solid waste as well, carting out west. It's the first pilot program, and we're going to go to a second one, but it's an excellent way with the carts that's going to be being delivered this summer. Put them fireworks, of course, water them down, make sure they're not on fire. Stick them in your trash carts. There's going to be a benefit to that as well versus being out on the curbs and those kind of things. So that being said, yes, ma'am.
I live just off of Parallel, and so I'm wondering if there are any plans for resurfacing Parallel. Some spots are really in bad shape.
Parallel State Avenue, we try to just be transparent with that. Brandon's on the call. I don't know if he wants to jump in, but I will state, if you've heard us talk about PCI scores, pavement condition index scores, our pavement index throughout our whole community is around 47. We aim to be at about a 75 to an 80 is where we'd like to be. And that's throughout our whole community. And with the funding that we received, the data-driven approach, we go out and pave, obviously, the worst streets. Now, exciting for Parallel State Avenue, they were budgeted this year to be repaved, but unfortunately with the budget restrictions and revenue neutral, we had to make cuts. That's what we've done. But these other funding opportunities, potentially through World Cup, is maybe help us with those areas, because I agree with you.
Looks like Brandon's up there.
Yeah, Brandon?
I do want to update. There is a portion of Parallel that has deteriorated so bad that we did have to add it back in as an emergency repair. That section will be from 9th Street to 18th Street. Both directions is going to receive a mill and overlay this year. As Jeff mentioned, originally State Avenue and Parallel from 435 all the way to 635 was going to get done. However, those had to be removed due to some budget restrictions. But we are evaluating when to get those back on the schedule. And if we do end up getting some infrastructure money from World Cup, those could potentially be several of the avenues that we go about for some of the major arterials like State, Parallel, 7th Street, Central, areas like that will potentially see a lot of traffic during World Cup. Commissioner Bynum, do you have a question back there?
Yeah, what's the cost, Brandon, just to do 9th to 18th?
To do 9th to 18th is about $675,000. So you can, and that's barely, a mile stretch. So you see how expensive those kind of things are.
There was a question in the chat about how revenue neutral has impacted budget constraints due to revenue neutral. Can you guys speak to that?
No.
Brandon,
So that's sure. That's kind of twofold. Going revenue neutral affected a lot of things. The street department itself, it reduced, it's kind of put us in a hiring freeze in a couple situations, and some other things like that. So we haven't had the opportunity to hire and fill some of the vacancy positions that would allow us to address more of those potholes. But at the same time, going revenue neutral affected the amount of money that we could debt as the unified government, which affected how much money we could put towards pavement preservation and things like that. So that's why the budget was reduced. So there is an impact. It might not be the direct impact that a lot of people might assume, but there is an impact that way. So yeah, and like Jeff mentioned, Overland Park, the reason they only have to patch 1,800 potholes a year is because their roads are in better condition. So the more money we get to attribute to our roads, the better we can make them, and the less potholes we'll have to do in the future, which means we can find some more efficiencies in our street division staff to do other activities besides having to make everybody patch potholes all day from March to September.
There you go.
And Edwin, I know that was your question. Do you have something else to add to that? I see your hands raised.
Yes, I was the one that put that question in there and then they answered it. And I want to thank the UG for answering that question, because I think many times us as residents, no matter where we live, we're complaining about our taxes. But again, the cost of living, the cost of materials continue to go up, but we want our city and local governments to remain the same and don't spend more, but we still want the same quality of resources. So you start to see some of the issues that we have when we make those type of decisions. Now, again, I just want us as residents to continue to remember that, because as a resident as well, the grass around Jersey Creek is higher now because we made that decision to go revenue neutral. So it's not cut as frequently. So those are tough decisions we all have to make, as our governing body has to make those tough decisions, and us residents have to make those tough decisions. And I want to thank the UG for answering that today, and just wanted to remind my fellow residents of that. Thank you.
Thanks, Edwin, and thank you, Jeff, for joining.
Real quick, if I may, yeah, so appreciate that. I mean, Edwin, that's great commentary. Brandon, you hit the nail on the head. The time that we're spending patching 40,000 potholes at, I don't know, 1,000 apiece by the time you have man hours and trucks and materials, I mean, that's $40 million. So at some point, we got to stop putting Band-Aids on and really get back out ahead of it. I feel a certain way about the amount of money that I've seen KDOT spend on critical intersections in Overland Park and in Johnson County, while K5 and some of our roads remain closed. Can you talk about where we can look to KDOT to support some of this effort, particularly on some of those main arterials that pick up kind of state highway designations? Or are we getting our fair share from KDOT?
Before you guys jump in, Eric, can they actually reach out to you and follow up with you next time, over email or over call, because we only have 5 more minutes.
Perfect.
Make sure that we're getting. Okay.
Yes or no? Are we getting our fair share from KDOT?
Brandon, I'll let you answer that one.
In the simple form is yes, we are. We have a very minimal number of actual KDOT or state designated roads, so we are.
Thank you. Sorry, Nina. Thank you, Brandon.
I can connect you with Jeff and Brandon.
I know, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. We have one more department, which is UG Parks and Rec. If you guys have any other events, if you could shoot them off real quick. That's what I'm. Okay, perfect. Well, then we're going to move into additional announcements. I know we only have 5 minutes. So if you're in person, if you could come up and very briefly, less than a minute, introduce yourself, let me know what's going on in the community. If you're online, drop it in the chat and I will quickly read it out after everybody else in line.
I'm Brian Perez, Program Manager for Ad Hoc Lubricants Fund. I just kind of wanted to remind everybody about the program that we're having. It's called Let's Wrap, Lessening the Effects of Trauma, Strengthening Resource Assistance, Partnership and Prevention. It's in partnership with the District Attorney's Office. Mainly anybody who's been in an incident that had involved gun violence, we come in and do home repairs, auto repairs. We've done relocations. We've helped with utilities, things like that. With summer heating up, obviously there's been more incidents on both sides of the river. With 4th of July coming up, some of the loud bangs you hear are not fireworks. There may be some celebratory gunfire, and if anybody gets bullets coming through their roof or through their windows, that will be eligible as well. All they have to have is a police report, and myself or a teammate will go out with the district attorney's office and do an assessment, get an estimate, and then set up contract repairs. And you can reach us. I don't know if you want to put it in the chat, but you can reach us at the district attorney's website. It'll be under Let's Wrap. It'll also be under Ad Hoc KC. So if you go to our website, and then if you want to reach out to me, my number is 913-219-2584. And then, yeah, just keep that in mind. So for the floor. Yep.
Anybody else in person?
Do we have Night Out Against Crime coming up?
That's a great question.
That is a good question. Our group can't do it anymore, so we backed away. We've given it to Chief Oakman, and with the budget constraints and all, it's still in the air. So hopefully we'll know by this week, one way or the other.
Yeah. I just want to remind everybody, Jane Philbrook of the Wyandotte County Parks Foundation. We are doing, that's everybody knows about budget constraints. The foundation's job is to raise money to help parks. And so we have our golf tournament, and that information McBetters is putting out really soon. And so whoever wants to play a little golf out there, it'll be in September. So maybe you won't melt. So, and I know he'll play. the man, he always plays. So just take a look and I think you can also find it on Facebook for Parks and Rec as well. So thank you, appreciate it.
Man, 1 minute. I know you already put me in the penalty box once though, so I'll be brief. Perfect. So, Eric Murray, good to see many of you. I am the developer that's working on the Indian Springs project. I get a lot of questions from community about what's going on. I don't have time to give you a full update. Suffice to say that we're working diligently on it. We're working with BPU, who's been a great partner, Wyandotte EDC, Chelsea Chisholm in development. So we are working through the logistics of bringing that back to the community. Obviously, with the data centers and Buc-ee's and a lot of other projects took priority. It's taking us a little longer than we'd like, but I'd be happy to go through all the exciting progress. I do want to dispel the rumors. There are people who say, with the change in federal government policy, are you dead in the water because the old priorities are not the new priorities? No, right? We remind folks, and the election office spoke, politicians come and go every 4 to 8 years. The show must go on, irregardless of who's in Washington. And there are changes in the tax policy that are actually going to be beneficial to that project, including a thing called opportunity zones. So the project is moving forward. We're working diligently with our partners. And if you've got more questions, I've got business cards. Reach out to me, and I'm happy to come to any community groups. Thank you, Mina.
So that means they renewed the opportunity zones.
Actually, Congress is working to not only renew them, but expand them and make them permanent. Indian Springs is in an OZ. Downtown, our entire downtown, all the way up to Big 11 Lake, not including Big 11 Lake, unfortunately, is in an OZ. You're going to have an opportunity next summer to work with our state legislators to redraw those maps. And it would be great to think about putting Quindaro in the Northeast in an OZ as well, because it is not. We'll talk about that offline now.
Gotcha.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Okay, I do want to be respectful of everybody's time, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I just wanted to say thank you all for sharing your morning with me. I'm going to send out a survey. I've gotten some feedback that the meetings are running a bit long, and it's important to me to be respectful of everybody's time. So I'm going to refine the schedule a little bit. So in the follow-up email, if you would fill out that survey and give me some more feedback about who you want to continue to hear a recurring update from, that would be great. And with that, if you didn't sign in on your way in, sign in on your way out and take some flyers. And I will see you next month. Thank you.
Answer that question, but.
Love to talk more about that. We've got work to do with those sooner. Our community benefits from those. Yeah.
Trying to go against the time.